Hi there. Before we dive in, I want to let you in on something new. For years, Paper Napkin Wisdom has been about capturing one powerful idea on the back of the napkin. Now, we're stepping into what I call the edge of the napkin, where ideas don't just sit, they move. This is where wisdom meets action and where small sparks ignite real change. Let's get started.
Welcome to Paper Napkin Wisdom, where we share pearls of wisdom shared by some of the world's top entrepreneurs, leaders, and difference makers. Here's your host, Govindh Jayaraman.
Hi, I'm Govindh Jayaraman, and this is Paper Napkin Wisdom, episode 294 and the fourth edition of The Edge of the Napkin. Every once in a while, we need to pause and lean into a conversation that isn't easy. This week is one of those times. I wasn't even sure I wanted to record this episode. Rather, I wasn't sure that I was going to, even though I wanted. But sometimes the very things we resist are the ones we most need to sit with. We're talking about three little letters you've seen countless times. They're carved in stone, posted on social media, and whispered at memorials. And yet, when you stop to think about them, you might find they carry more weight than you realized. So today, we're going deeper. What happens when those letters show up in the middle of conflict? What if they're more than a formality? And what if they hold a challenge for us leaders, entrepreneurs, and human beings? As you listen, I invite you to consider, how do you respond to the uncomfortable conversations around loss, legacy, and peace? And what might shift if you chose to see them differently? Let's jump in. Hi, Govindh here. And on Edge of the Napkin this week, I am discussing an uncomfortable subject. We said we would have uncomfortable conversations, and Edge of the Napkin was where we were going to have them. And this week, we're jumping in. I wasn't sure that I was going to record this episode and procrastinated a bit. Went to the gym. And I'm coming right from the gym to the chair to you to record this piece because I don't want the motivation to wane. I want to talk about three little letters that we have no doubt seen countless times. R.I.P. Rest in peace. We've all said it. We've read it on tombstones or on social media posts. Sometimes it feels like a formality. But if we stop to think about it, what does it really mean? And what does it mean in a week like this one, where someone controversial has died and the conversation around it is anything but peaceful? Now, I do want to acknowledge there are other people who have very publicly passed this week, and there are also other people who did not publicly pass this week. Thousands and thousands and thousands of husbands and wives, fathers and mothers, brothers and sisters, cousins, loved ones, friends, and confidants, people we love. I am paying acknowledgement to all of them. The origin of RIP is old. It comes from the Latin phrase requiescat in pace, which literally means, may he or she rest in peace. You'll find it carved into stones as far back as the 8th century. And it wasn't about politics or sides or judgment. It was a wish, a blessing, a hope. May this person, whoever they were, find peace. So why does RIP matter, particularly this week? Why are we talking about it? Well, this week, Charlie Kirk died. He was murdered. And immediately, the reactions online poured in. Many of them lacked humanity. Some said, it's sad he died. Some said, rest in peace. Some said, it's sad he died, but he provoked violence. But he provoked hate. But he blah, blah, blah. And that word "but" is interesting, isn't it? When we use it, the first part of the sentence almost disappears. It's sad he died, but, and the sadness is erased. What's left is blame and judgment? What if instead we allowed both to be true? It's sad he died, his life ended, and it ended before its time. And it's also true that maybe he provoked some other things. Both can sit side by side if they must. And when they do, we can grieve without excusing, and we can hold truth without denying our humanity. And the bigger question is, when we talk about death, what do we want to multiply? Peace or more strife, more suffering, or hope? So let's break down the meaning of RIP. Rest. Rest obviously means the struggle is over. Whoever the person was, however they lived, when they die, their striving ends. They are no longer fighting, which raises a question. What does it give us to keep the fight alive after they're gone? Well, it's a small word, but it's important. Rest in peace, not apart, not rest if, rest in. It's inclusive. It reminds us that peace isn't for a select few. If we only allow peace for people we agree with, then it's not really peace. It's just another form of judgment. Peace. The word peace doesn't mean the absence of conflict. It means the presence of harmony. It means that harmony is there, and harmony isn't earned. It isn't a prize. It isn't anointed for good behavior. If peace is conditional, it's not peace at all. It's a transaction. So when we say rest in peace, are we willing to let those words mean what they were always meant to mean? And we have to think about peace also as something we're moving toward, not pushing away from. It's not pushing away from conflict. It's moving toward peace. So I want to be clear. Saying someone should rest in peace doesn't mean that we excuse everything that happened in life. It doesn't mean that there's no accountability for harm. Crimes, if there are any, must be faced. Consequences matter. Justice matters. But death is not where those things get resolved here. Death is where the striving stops. And if we turn someone's death into fuel for more anger or justification for violence, we don't advance justice. We just spread more grief, more harm, more hopelessness. And there's a difference between saying this person caused harm and we must continue to deal with the consequences and this person doesn't deserve peace. One keeps us anchored in justice. The other one keeps us trapped in hate. And if we ask ourselves which one actually moves the world forward, I wonder what you'd pick. So it's easy to look at public figures and pass judgment. It's harder to look at home, to look at ourselves in a mirror. Where are you in your own life quick to erase compassion because someone has done something wrong? Someone may have said the wrong thing, done the wrong thing, looked at you the wrong way. And where are you holding back peace for others or even yourself? Here's a simple exercise. Grab a paper napkin, write down RIP, circle each letter, rest. Where do you need to rest? Where are you still carrying a fight that needs to end? Where can you let that go? In. Who have you pushed outside of your circle? Why have you done so? What did that do for you? Who have you decided is unworthy? Notice that. Peace. Where are you withholding peace? And what would happen if you extended it, even silently, without anyone knowing? Maybe you could let something go that has been bothering you. A grudge, a lack of apology, a lack of kindness, a lack of conclusion. This isn't about approval. This isn't about pretending that harm didn't happen. It's about deciding what grows in the wake of death, what grows in the wake of an end, peace or more division. If we believe in peace, then we have to believe in it for everyone. Otherwise, peace just becomes another weapon we use against each other to do harm. So here's my challenge for you. Write the name of someone, maybe even the hardest person you can imagine, and under their name write, I wish you peace. I wish you harmony. I wish you hope. And just sit with that. Notice what shifts inside you when you carry that intention. Because in the end, RIP isn't about them. It's about us. It's about whether we can make peace bigger than our judgments, bigger than our divisions, bigger than the conflicts we keep repeating. And here's where optimism comes in. When we practice extending peace, even in thought, even in words, we actually open space for healing. And not just for others, most importantly for ourselves. And that's hopeful because it means that we're not trapped in cycles of resentment. It means that we can choose peace as a discipline, as a seed of something better, even in moments that feel divided. So instead of saying, if you think this, then unfriend me right now, why not reach out to that person and say, hey, do you and I share a hope for an optimistic future? Find things in the future that you have in common and make sure your focus is on those things. And I want to leave you with one more step, a secondary reframe. How do we turn moments like this into positive learnings that help us grow? Regardless of where we stand politically, maybe you disagreed with Charlie Kirk. I certainly didn't agree with him on many, many things. Maybe you supported him. Maybe you didn't think much about him at all. None of that matters. What matters is what you take from this moment. What if his death became a mirror? Not for him, but for us. A mirror that asks, how do I live differently, knowing that life is fragile? How do I speak differently, knowing that words outlast us and outlast our presence in someone else's life? How do we treat people differently? How do I treat people differently, knowing that one day they too will be gone? And here's the hope. When we face loss, we get a chance to reset. We get a chance to choose a different path. We get a chance to decide that our contribution won't be more division, but more connection. And that means even across political or religious or deep differences, chasmous differences, we can still agree on something, that life is short, that peace is precious, and that hope and optimism are worth holding on to and striving for. Because if every time someone dies, we only pass judgment and spread hate, then the only inheritance we leave each other is bitterness and angry disappointment. But if every time someone dies, we learn something about how to live with more compassion, more urgency, more courage, more love, then death becomes a strange kind of teacher. And that's the gift inside these letters. Rest in peace. Not just a blessing for the dead, but an invitation for us, for the living, to live differently, to live with hope, to live with optimism, and to leave behind something much bigger than conflict, much more than conflict. So wherever you fall on the political spectrum, the religious spectrum, or any other spectrum, you and I can take that with us. We can decide right now that I will be someone who multiplies peace, not pain. I will be someone who multiplies love, not hatred. I will be someone who practices nonviolence as opposed to violence. I will be someone who learns, not just reacts. And that's how we honor the words, rest in peace, by letting them grow into something inside us that is alive, forward-facing, and full of hope. With that, I hope you make it a great day.